Lynzee Schatz is with me today, talking about many things. But Lynzee is a super talented winemaker, spending a lot of time in Penticton and on the Naramata bench with what I love, bubbles, the beautiful new Evolve bubble house on the Naramata bench. So welcome, Lynzee. Great to have you here. How's it going today? Are you warm
Good.
enough?
Yeah, good. Yes, definitely warm enough. And yeah,
Warm
thanks
enough.
for having me.
So I'm just going to share a little bit about Lynzee for those joining us, and Lindsay's going to fill in the gaps for us. But this is a born and raised in the Okanagan Valley, Kelowna. Woohoo! Wonderful. And you started in the wine business at 18 years of age.
Yes, yeah, I did.
What were you thinking?
Well, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. And back then, it seems like I date myself in saying that, but to find a job, you were looking in the paper, and there's all these different kinds of jobs. And I saw this one job hand labeling sparkling wine bottles, and I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I don't even know what that entails. I'm going to apply for this job. And so I did. And I went and they looked at me and they were like, you're too little. Like, you're not going to be strong enough for this. I don't think this job is for you. You got to carry the cases and that. And I was like, okay. Went home and I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Like, if that's the only reason why I can't do this is because they don't think I'm strong enough, I feel like I am strong enough. It's just a case of wine. So I emailed them back and I was like, I really think you should give me a chance. And I'd never done that before. Usually somebody writes you and they're like, sorry, you weren't successful in getting this job. And then you move on. It's not really up for discussion. But I went back and I emailed them back and I was like, I really think you should give me a chance. And so they're like, all right, we like it, come on in. So I went in for 2 days a week. And then after those 2 days, they're like, all right, do you want to come back full time and do this job? So I was like, okay, yeah. And it just kind of all started there. And I don't know why I had this fire in me that I was like, you can't tell me no. Like, I didn't really need to hand label sparkling wine bottles. Like, it wasn't, a big aspiration, but I think it was just, I don't know, just something so different. And I had just graduated and I just wanted to do something different. And
Yeah.
there's just something in me that just said, like, no, go do this, like, fight for this job. And so I did. And that's when I was there. We were sitting right in the middle of the cellar. That's kind of where, um, they had this like table organized for us to sit down and hand label these bottles. And so all around me, winemaking was happening. And so I could see it happening as I was doing this job. And I was so curious. I was like, what's that guy doing? And what's she doing over there? And oh, that's the winemaker, and that kind of stuff. And so I just started asking more questions and getting to know the cellar hands there. And then it just kind of organically, like, I don't even know exactly. I can't remember like the first time that I got to get up from that table and was able to like help them in the cellar. But there was just a time that then I was helping them do some stuff in the cellar or like picking up lines or moving things around. And then they just slowly transitioned me into the cellar. And I was like, this is really cool. And I remember the winemaker had a chat with me. He's like, "You're gonna have to get better footwear if you want to work in the cellar." And I didn't even
Mm.
know, there was so many things I didn't know,
Yep.
but I was just this sponge, and I just loved it. I loved the work. I thought it was so cool. I thought harvest was amazing. I, like learning how to drive a forklift. I was like, "This is so crazy. This is so cool." I just loved all of it, and yeah, so then that was at Summerhill, and I stayed there for 3 years, and I didn't even like wine when I was there. I didn't really drink
Oh my
wine.
God. And for those who don't know, Summerhill Pyramid Winery is pretty much uber famous here in East Kelowna because they actually do have a pyramid that they age all the bubbles in, and pretty famous award-winning bubbles and
Yeah,
biodynamic farming and all the things, like all the
yeah,
things.
yeah. It was amazing. It was so fun being there. I loved it so much. And then I ended up doing lab work with them. I worked under Eric for years and years, and he was such a
Oh,
good mentor to me. And yeah, that's just kind of where it all started. And yeah, it was kind of like the first job I'd ever really had. And I haven't ever had any other job my whole life. I've always worked in a cellar.
well, Eric von Krosigk. was kind of a key element, a key guy, key personality, consulting winemaker at Summerhill Pyramid Winery. And did he inspire you to study sciences, do you think?
I think a lot of that started there. Like Eric bought me a winemaking book and a hammock, and he gave them both to me on the same day. And he said, "Hang this hammock up, read this book. You know, somebody did this for me one day. I want to pass it on to you too." And I was like, "What? That's so cool!" So I went home, put up my hammock, and I started reading through this book. And then as I kind of learned more about like the world of wine and stuff, I was like, there's so much out there. I
Yeah.
really want to go see what else is out there. And I
Yeah.
felt really bad leaving. And when it took me like weeks to be able to tell Eric, I was like, I'm leaving. I got a different winemaking job. I got this winemaking internship in California where they only made Pinot Noir. And at the time, I was like, Eric's going to think this is silly. They're only making Pinot Noir. Why would I just go make one wine? In the end, it's actually one of the coolest things you can do. But I couldn't tell him for weeks. And then when I finally told him, he was so excited for me. He's like, go, go, go. And like was almost pushing me out the door because he's like, you got to go see the world of wine that's out there.
That's
And
a mentor. That's a
yeah, it was so good.
fantastic mentor.
So good. And having his blessing. And then that's just really when everything for me, I think, really took off is to be able to see the rest of the world of wine. And I haven't even seen all of it, but
No,
leaving the
right.
Okanagan is really important, I think, for young people
Well,
learning.
for a gal from Kelowna who, at 18 fights for her position to put labels on bottles to doing all that you did. Like, so then you go to California. Where did you get your degree? Where did you study?
In Australia. So when I was in California, I met a whole bunch of other international interns that were working down there, and they encouraged me to go to Australia to go work at Domaine Chandon there, and following that kind of bubble passion that's always been like a vein. It's always been around in everything that I've always done. I've always worked at a place that had bubbles. And I was so excited, but also so scared. I was like, Domaine Chandon, that's crazy. Like, can I do that? And so I applied, and they hire like probably 20 to 30 cellar hands for harvest because they're so big. So they
So
need a lot of
big. Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah.
And I got in and went to Australia, and I was like, holy, like everything, it just was like in stages. It just kept opening and opening and opening. And when I was there, they keep a couple harvest cellar hands on afterwards. And I was picked to stay on afterwards. And so then I stayed on, and you get this full-time job, and I'm working at Domaine Chandon, and I'm helping them with their like blending exercises and creating dosage and all of these things. And I was like, this is so cool. And then I wanted to go to school. I was like, I think I need to go to school. I think this is what I actually want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to be a cellar hand, but I want to be a winemaker, and I want to just dive right in. And so there was a winemaker there. There's a bunch of winemakers at Chandon because it's so big. One of the winemakers there wrote the university on my behalf when I applied and said, like, take her, she's good, like let her get into the
Oh,
school. So I got this like letter of recommendation, and then yeah, started going to university in Australia. And so I did a Bachelor of Wine Science.
Bachelor of
Wine Science.
Wine? So it wasn't like chemistry in general, it was wine science specifically.
Yeah, they do degrees a little bit different in Australia. They have applied degrees. So it's 3 years, and from the day you step foot in, you're learning all about things that are applied to what, your interest
What
is
you
or what it
do.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very smart, don't you think? I mean, saves a lot of
Yeah.
time and a lot of extra learning that maybe not relevant to what you're doing. Like,
Totally. Yeah. Well, for me, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do as well, I didn't have to do that exploratory year of, some fluffy subjects. And it's expensive too, right? Like I just dove straight into what I wanted to do. And yeah, it was awesome. It was super
so
fun.
Domaine Chandon has a winery in Napa, and I have been there. And they
Yes.
do 450, well, at the time they were doing 450,000 cases
Jeez.
annually. And I was like, what? Like, like what's our reference really in the Okanagans? Like 5,000? Biggest one might be 40 or 50,000. Like there's
Yeah.
maybe one or two that do more than that. Like
Big, big wineries.
450,000 cases. Yeah.
Yeah. Big wineries. And in Australia too, a lot of really big wineries. Really big wineries.
So was there like so Australia's famous for Charmat method, tank method, but traditional method is kind of where the beans are. And I don't know if that's true or not, but from a wine buyer's, wine taster, wine judge's perspective, like I think I can tell the difference between Charmat and traditional method. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
But
I think that's right. I think you can. I think like there's aging often on
right.
traditional method sparkling wine. So you're seeing all of those kind of secondary, tertiary, and lees the effects
Yeah.
of lees in those wines, where
Yeah.
Charmat is, usually something that's more fresh and fruity and you drink right away. With the bubbles, like I think, I've gotten into arguments with people about this. You shouldn't really tell the difference too much. I think it's more in like the actual how the wine's presenting, I would say.
I think it's hard to tell the difference if you just looked at it. But when I spent time in Australia, everything started with bubbles. So the bubbles weren't $100 bottles. They were just
Yeah.
like, and they're so, in Australia, bubbles are everywhere. It was like 15, 20. I mean, I'm dating myself probably at those price points, but like it was affordable. And to have bubbles to start, it wasn't like it was shishi. It was like, this is the lustig, the
Yeah.
the
What you do.
excitement, the joyful part,
Yeah.
which I loved about Australia. Like everything's about, oh, like, oh, you must have so many amazing memories. 7 years in Australia, right?
Yeah. I was there for 7 years. Yeah. I missed it a lot. I really, really enjoyed my time there for
Yeah.
sure.
So you were where? Southeast? So I don't know.
In the
Which
Yarra
geography
Valley.
is
So
your?
just outside of Melbourne.
Well, and Melbourne being the foodie capital, like it must have all just been delicious.
Oh yeah. And the Yarra Valley looks a lot like the Okanagan as well.
Mm.
Just the trees are quite different. But yeah, kind of like the like rolling hills and that kind of thing. But yeah, it reminded me a bit of home as well.
Nice. And then something happened, and you were like, I want to go home. Or,
Yeah, kind of. I mean, when I was in Australia, I traveled back, or yeah, back to Canada a couple times, did a harvest in Ontario because I didn't
oh,
want to end up living out east, but I really did want to see what the other side of our country did for wine. And I just thought that it was important to be able to see, what Canada as a whole is doing with wine. So I did come back for a couple months and do a harvest over there. But yeah, then eventually I just came back home and in that time that I'd left, all my family had moved to Vancouver. And I was like, well, this is
what?
not very convenient because, I'm wanting to go back to the Okanagan. So I land in Vancouver and I stay there because that's where my family is, just kind of getting myself sorted. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll stay here. Maybe I can see if I can find a job here. And there was one winemaking job in downtown Vancouver. And I applied there probably like 5 times before they gave me the job. And they said, okay, we don't have a full winemaking job for you here, but we're also part brewery. So if you want, you can learn how to brew and you can help us with some
Oh,
brewing and then you can
oh,
also make the wine. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Like I'm
oh
down to
my.
learn something new. So I ended up brewing in downtown Vancouver and making wine with grapes that we sourced from the Okanagan and making cider at the same
Oh
time.
my.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun.
Dynamic because suddenly you have the chemistry for wine. Is it very similar to the chemistry for beer and cider?
Yeah,
And
yeah. There's a lot of crossover for sure.
and fermentation. It's
Yeah,
isn't it all fermentation and
yeah,
managing pH and acidity and kind of like what vessel and like how long. I mean, I've
yeah.
heard beer is amazing because it's like every 6 weeks to 8 weeks you have a new batch. And for us with wine, it's like, oh my God, that would be a dream. It's like,
I know.
okay, every year.
I know. Yeah, I always thought it was funny when we'd get together with other brewers or brewers would come by and like I wasn't really a brewer, like I wasn't in
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
boys club of
Yeah.
brewing. But they would talk about, they'd drink their beer and they'd be like, "Oh man, this is so good." And I'm like, "It is really good, like we had a brew master, so I was like following his recipes, right? So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, yeah, it is good. Like, I like this, but like, also, if it sucked, you could dump it out, like,
Yes.
and like it's a recipe essentially that they're following, but like
Yes.
they get really creative with it, but it is so different. It like I
Yes.
feel like the stakes are so much higher in winemaking, and we
Yes.
have so much more influence from Mother Nature that we cannot control at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And just having that like kind of scary edge, when we do get to harvest and we get a wine, you get these grapes and make a wine, that goes out and everybody loves. I'm like, wow, like that's a big accomplishment for me because we had
Yeah.
so many hurdles to get to that point.
Well, I like to tell people like, oh, uh, uh, tasting wine, just tasting wine, not making wine, but like I think it applies. When you swing a golf club, you're supposed to be thinking about 120 different things within your stroke pattern and feet and hands and
Yeah.
shoulders and wrist and hips, and you're like, you get it all right and you connect and it's a great, but it doesn't happen every time. And like the hurdle is you got to practice. And so you only get to practice once a year,
Yeah.
like, and so every hurdle is critical.
Yes. Yeah. It
And
is.
yeah,
It can
okay.
be stressful.
Stressful, and don't lose sleep over it, but you lose it. You're waking up in the night going, oh,
We do.
do we
Yeah.
need to move this over here? And did they turn off the hoses? And like, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of crazy stories, but
Yeah.
but let's go back to, so you started at 18. You've been in it maybe you're young. So I'm going to tease you a little bit, but it's like, okay, so 5 years later. Okay, so we know you were in Australia for 7 years, but let's say a decade later, there's a lot of changes that have happened in wine.
Yeah.
Like, who's drinking wine? I mean, I love wine. My room, I got all the empties on the shelves around. My fridge is full. I got a drawer full. I got, anyway. But there's also a new trend.
There's always a new trend.
So this is a good time to talk about this, I think.
Sure.
Oh, thank you very much. Can you see it? Kind of dull. It's too bright, what I'm facing, but it says evolve. This is a light sparkles. 7% alcohol by volume. Now, I have friends who are hunting and searching for low or no wines and sparkles that taste delicious. So I'm going to open this. Do you have
Yeah.
any there for yourself?
No, I don't have any with me right now.
Okay, is it going
I'm
to
not-
like poof? Because this is, okay, everyone, this is called a crown cap. This is not a mushroom cork with a cage. So what that means is you use a bottle opener, essentially. Woo! I made a
It's
great
always a mess.
noise. Oh, oh, and you can just smell the kind of the fermentation right away that comes off the top of this. I mean, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm going to pour, and I'm super excited because I want the label there. You can just a little bit. Okay, now one of the things I noticed on this was it said somewhere, well, you tell me, how is this made?
So we went down the road of wanting to do a de-alcoholized and a light alcohol option.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are asking for those. We have two different tasting rooms. We have the Chronos tasting room downtown, and then we have the Naramata bench tasting room. And we get a lot of traffic, and not everybody is a drinker.
Nope.
And so we wanted to be
Right.
able to give options, or not everybody wants to drink that much.
Or at
And
11 o'clock in the morning, they're not ready.
yes, it's true.
They're not
So
in Germany.
so you're seeing a lot more like no low options out there for sure. And
Mhm.
so we thought, why don't we also offer something like that, especially at Evolve? There's a ton of traffic up there, and we just wanted to be able to, kind of cater to every style of drinker. And I feel like the whole portfolio at Evolve already does that, anyways, with the sparkles, the still, and then there's even red wine. So this one, when they asked me to make this, I was like, okay, but let's talk about this because I really want to stay true to what we're doing with our wines already. Just because it's a trend, I don't want to jump on, and I don't want to make a wine that isn't true to our brand or me, because then it's really hard to get behind it. And it just shows that you're just trying to jump on with a trend. So I said, if we can do it in a way that has that high level of quality that everything else that Evolve is doing, then yes. And so they said, okay, let's see what you can come up with. So that is a 50% Chardonnay and 50% Pinot Noir. It was picked at the same time that I would pick grapes for all of my other traditional method wines. And even some of that wine has gone into the blends for my other traditional method sparkling wines that I made for 2025. So it is legit the real deal of what you would use as a base for sparkling wine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the color of it is really cool. So it's from a vineyard in Summerland. It's called the Heckman Vineyard, and it's been around for 35, 40 years. And that's the natural color that came out of the Pinot Noir that year. And it was funny because marketing was like, hey, do you think you could make it like a little bit pink? And I was like, yeah, no problem, because it was already so
Gorgeous.
pink.
The
So
color is gorgeous,
isn't it
gorgeous.
beautiful? I know. And so
Yes.
that's just naturally what came from the Pinot Noir in that year. So that worked out really well. And then, did the primary fermentation like I normally would, had all my blending components of my sparkling wines. And I just loved this blend when I put it together. I just thought it was so pretty and so elegant and really generous as well. Like a lot of times, sparkling wines can be quite neutral when they're base wines. But this was quite generous on the nose and on the palate. There was a lot of like strawberry and stone fruits and things happening. And so I said, okay, let's use this blend for making the 7% or making, the low or the light sparkles. Um, because you have to use an RO to remove the alcohol. And when you do that, that starts cutting back some of those
Mm-hmm.
characteristics inside of
Mm-hmm.
the wine. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to start with something that already had a decent amount of characteristic and
Mm-hmm.
see,
Mm-hmm.
slowly RO it down to a level, that people are wanting to drink it at and still hopefully hold on to notes that resemble wine. And when we did that, I was really surprised that even at 7%, it still tastes like wine. It doesn't taste like a DL wine to me.
Right. So
Like
the
it's really
yeah.
holding on to a lot of that. So I was really happy with that. We stopped it at 7%. I thought that was the kind of, a fair half-ish way point for that wine. Yeah. And then we carbonated it and put it to bottle. We made not too much of it, just trying to like test out the waters to see,
Yes.
what people think of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that wine's done really well.
Well, I think what I would say, so the challenge I have experienced with no is that the mid palate's vacant. Like there's just really nothing there.
Yeah.
And had a chat with a gentleman in Germany who's specialist in these different processes to remove alcohol. And, the industry is in crisis in Europe, especially with all the grape growers, because now there's nobody's making wine. And so the category that they're going into is this no and low. And
Mhm.
so he's on a mission to really find the solution to that mid palate and the flavor profile. But what I would say is the muted no, like for me, the
Mhm.
nose isn't like a white wine that's aromatic and gives you everything. It's delicate, it's subtle. There's just a fine hint. You're like, oh yeah, well, bubbles. The yeasty kind of brioche sometimes, but this isn't that. It's just like lees maybe, but like delicate. And then when you taste it, you're kind of like, oh, it's still delicate. It's not really in your face in any particular way. But to your point, a little stone fruit, a little citrus. But what stood out for me on this is the finish. And I'm like, wait. Right? Like, this is an indication of quality for sure. But for so many of my friends who are searching for this style, this will be a winner because it's got this like lovely finish and it just goes on. So, kudos to you because my friends are always asking me. And I was like, well, I'm having this call and we're going to talk about blah, blah, blah. And we all love Evolve anyway. And we just go there all the time because, like, who doesn't? If you love bubbles, you got to go hang out at a bubble house. And I
True.
just
Yeah.
love that whole concept. And, thank you so much for meeting me there the first time. That was just like,
Yeah, that was fun. That was at the opening.
it was the opening. Yeah. How long ago was that? Was
A
that the
year.
fall?
A year, yeah.
Oh my
A
God,
year.
I feel like that's been like 5 years ago. Like, I don't know. Time is just every day is like huge. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I have pictures of us sitting in front of that beautiful wall that
Yeah, that was
says,
fun.
yeah, it was so fun. It was so fun. Okay. Uh, so where do we get this? How much do we pay? Do you know?
You can get it at the winery. I don't know
Mhm.
if they have it for sale anywhere else. Most of all wines you have to buy at the winery or you can buy online.
So this
So,
wasn't a members exclusive or anything like that. It's open to. And about
no,
how many
yeah.
cases did you make?
Off the top of my head, maybe 500 or 600, something like that. So a decent amount.
Yeah.
Definitely can get it online, and you can definitely get it if you go to Evolve.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if anywhere else has it. And it's kind of like that. Like you don't really see a lot of Evolve wines in stores. Like people can get them on their menus, whatever. But a lot of if you want Evolve wines, it's mostly about visiting Evolve
Can you get them at
or order
the BC
online.
Wine Info Center or Save on Foods
Oh,
or
I'm such the wrong person to talk
okay.
to.
No, no, that's okay. Don't
I'm
worry
not
about it.
entirely sure. But
We will find out. We will
okay.
find out. But
Okay.
the point is, it's available online, and you don't have to be a member. And everyone should go to the Bubble House anyway. I don't care who you are, but just start your tour there. And if you
Make your
never
way down.
leave, that's okay. Oh, it's so photogenic. Ah,
It is. And it's such a beautiful view as well. It's a kind of a different view of Penticton as well. So you can kind of see like the yacht club in there and downtown and yeah,
yep.
it's right
It's
off the
beautiful.
KVR. You can go for a little wander on the KVR, and we have access right off the KVR, so you can walk
Oh
just
my
straight up, and the path kind of like wanders through the vineyard, and there's all these like signs. It kind of gives you like a little tour, and then you make your way up to the winery.
I
It's
love it.
well thought through. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Are you enjoying your time at Time? I guess it's not
Mhm.
called Time anymore. What do we call it?
Well, the company name is called Time Family of Wines.
Okay.
And then we have the Chronos brand, which is at 361 Martin downtown. And then we have the Evolve brand, which is at 245 Lower Bench. So just 5 minutes between them. So I mean, it's confusing for everybody, and Time Family of Wines is a really big mouthful. So we usually just try to say Evolve or Chronos. But then we
Yeah.
also have a Rolo, which is part of our Time Family of Wines brands as well, which is the restaurant on site. Some people still call it Time Winery. I think that's okay too, but we're
Well,
trying to
and
get people used to talking about Chronos and
right,
Evolve and a
right,
Rolo.
right.
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, historically significant, Harry McWaters opened up that with his daughter, Krista Lee.
Yes.
I want to say in what, 2015 or 16? I can't really remember.
It's 18 was their first
18.
year open at
Okay.
that site, and then Harry hired me actually in 2019. So I worked with them for a bit.
Wow.
Harry sadly passed shortly after I was hired there, but then I did work with the McWaters for a couple years after that.
And you're still there. And the
I'm
new
the
owners.
longest standing employee there now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, it's wonderful. If anyone wants to see, do they still have that glass wall where you can kind of see
for
people
sure.
making wine? So if
Yeah.
you want to see Lynzee, go down to the heart of Penticton, go to a Rollo Chronos
Yeah.
location.
Check it
She'll
out.
be running around in the back with pails and buckets and rubber boots and like
Oh
all
yeah.
the things.
I will be. Yeah. Wave at me.
But your hair will always be beautiful. Look at it. Your hair is gorgeous, I have to say. Hair is important.
It's important.
It's like how we show up in the world. Kind of like the label on bottles, which
That's
you
right.
started putting on how many years ago?
Full circle.
Full circle. Okay, so let's talk about as a winemaker. You're looking around now. We had smoke yesterday, which was a blanket. That was shocking. And today, clear blue here
Yeah.
in Kelowna anyway. But as a winemaker, you're like, your babies are all out hanging on vines. And you're like, please, please. And it's very zone, right? We have,
Starting,
we
yeah,
already
for
passed
sure.
that.
Yeah, all over. we're not fully through Veraison everywhere,
Yeah.
but I mean Merlot down south is pretty much all red berries. So it's site specific and variety specific,
Specific.
but it is, yeah, it is starting for sure. And
And
almost like complete in some places.
and when do you think we'll harvest?
Oh my gosh, the $1 million question.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know for
early though, right?
sure. Yeah, I think we're going to be early. All signs are pointing to that. The smoke could potentially slow that down a little bit
Yeah.
because it's, a bit of a layer in between the sun and, getting to the vines and vines progressing and that. But also vines shut down when it gets too hot as well.
Oh, how
So
hot is
there's
it today where you are?
mine says 32 right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's warm, but vines would still be, actively growing and maturing during that temperature. So it's kind of more of the hotter temperatures where they do slow down. But I mean, the smoke that we've had has stayed really high in the sky, and it's easily moved on. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not super worried about it yet. I remain optimistic that everything's going to be just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when we get that falling ash and that smoke that really sinks
Oh
in,
God.
especially post Raison. So we'll just cross our
2021.
fingers.
2021. We don't want to repeat. No, thank you. No, thank
Oh,
you. No,
I
my
know
God.
that's the part that's hard. If
Yeah.
it's Mother Nature, right?
Yep.
And come what may, that's farming. That's how it goes, and we just do the best that we
Yep.
can.
Do the best. Well, and you, knowing you, you're always doing the best you can and you're always fighting for what you want. So I admire that in you for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Um, so harvest a little early, looking around, site specific, you're getting ready. So yeah, you're getting ready for a crazy, how many months? 3?
Yeah, it'd probably be pretty solid 3 months for us for sure. And because we do sparkling wine, and that's the first variety of grapes to be picked, we're looking at maybe mid-August to third week of August. So my summer abruptly stops and I go straight into winemaking. So, yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I'm home today because I'm
Okay.
taking just a little bit of time off to just
Right.
try to relax before
Right.
all of the fun starts to happen. And it's a
All of
great
it.
time. I have a good crew. I actually have a guy coming back that's worked with us before.
Yay.
Kelvin is my full-time cellar hand who's been with me for a couple years, and he's amazing. And our crush pad's outside, but it's undercover, so we get to spend a lot of time outside, and the weather's still great. And it's just really exciting, once it starts and once, you start getting into the rhythm of all the things and the ferments pick up and you're like, wow, this is so cool and things are looking good. And
Yeah.
yeah, you just kind of like stay on this high a little bit throughout all of it. And I think you have to, or else you'll just get so tired. You just,
Adrenaline rush
yeah,
for
you
sure,
just keep
right?
going, going, going. And then harvest ends, and then you have Christmas and you can just relax. But yeah,
You
it's a
come
pretty
up for
crazy
air
12 months.
a week before Christmas and you're like, wait, or let's say December, I guess you come up for air, right?
Well, I always talk about how the season changes, but you don't even really notice because
Mhm.
you're just so focused and you're in the cellar and you're not outside. Like there's no time to go for a walk or, do all of these other things that you used to do. So the seasons change, it gets colder. I mean, you notice it, you dress for it, but like you don't get to go out and like notice all of like the beautiful leaves and and do all of the fall things that everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. So
Yeah.
you kind of like start in summer and then you end in winter and you end and you're like, what just happened? Like what's gone on around me a little bit. But I don't know. I have a muscle memory for it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I
I
love
think
it.
that's marvelous. It one of the things that's a beauty. So I think I said to you, like, I think I got ADHD and I think I'm a bit dyslexic, but I'm a really tunnel focused. When I'm in work mode, I'm working. And I think that people who excel at that love, it's kind of like making a movie, You're in it and you're in it and from start
Yeah.
to finish and you know what you have to get done and you get it done and you're on a schedule and it's like huge and you do it. And then suddenly you're looking around, you're like, yeah, yay, like, right?
That's right. Yeah. And it's kind of what it feels like. I think that's why in 24 when we had that frost and there was no fruit. I mean, we had a tiny bit of fruit. We didn't buy any fruit from anywhere else. We just stayed local and stayed BC. But I so we made 6 barrels of wine. Usually I make
Oh
about
my God.
250.
600? How many?
250 is
250.
usual just for red wine. And then equal of that of whites. It just doesn't all go into barrel. So we did 6 barrels and that was it. We didn't do any whites, nothing else. And so that year I was like, what do I do with myself? Like, it felt so weird. I needed like a project and like a long-term one to be able to like keep my brain busy
Yeah.
for that amount of time. And it was really challenging not having that workload and that pressure and, all those decisions and stuff that you make. It was kind of nice because I got to go through the seasons. I got to see the leaves fall and, do Thanksgiving and all those other kinds of
Yeah.
things that you usually miss out on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been in this industry for over 20 years. So missing a year like that was very weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
I think it will go down in history and in our memory banks as something completely unusual.
I think
And
so.
I hope it stays there. I hope it's not the new normal. And, as you said, Mother Nature. So when she took everything away in 2024, everything came roaring back in 2025. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know that people were prepared for what happened in 2025, but the abundance of fruit,
Mhm.
from what I understand, was like it had people scrambling for tanks and
Oh yeah.
barrels and like
Yeah.
and it was good quality fruit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Just lots of it. We were expecting about 80% to come back after that really big frost, a recovery year for the vines. And, that's kind of normal, but then we were ending up at like 110, 110%. And we were like, what's happened here? So lots of fruit. This year's more back in line with what we're used to for normal, which is good to see. And it's good to see the vines kind of start to even out and find their
Well,
pace. And
doesn't it help for
hopefully it continues.
planning and ordering and
Oh, yeah.
scheduling and like
Oh, yeah.
all the
All,
things.
all the things for sure.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I like that. I like that we've talked a little bit about what happened because, I don't think we're ever going to get over COVID and then the fires and then the frost and like, but we carry on regardless and
Sure.
it makes us stronger, I suppose. But it sure hollows out some people's lives and challenges for all of us. And community is really important, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so let's talk about from all of your experience. So you have tenacity, and I love that. I think women coming into the industry, we don't want, we want to attract people, women. Don't be afraid. There's lots of syndromes, like imposter syndrome and like, there's a lot of dudes around or whatever, safety or like whatever it is. Like, oh, I'm not, I've only studied it, I've never done it, so based on your experience, I mean, you want to talk to mentorship or you want to talk to pathway or like, what's your advice to women who want to come in this industry and how do they even figure that out?
Yeah. It's, I feel like there's not just one way to do it. And I think you have to figure out what you want to do. So, do you want to be in the vineyard side? Do you want to be in the winery side? And how high do you want to go? How far do you want to go? And what kind of company do you want to work for? So, there's some companies that are really kind of ma and pa, and there's, some companies that are quite corporate in wine. And so it kind of depends on like, where do you feel like you fit in there? And I feel like then you kind of start chasing those different avenues. I think no matter what, and whatever gender you are, I think you should just be a sponge and also be willing to
Right.
pay your dues
Yeah.
and keep a super open mind. So, there's so many ways to make wine. And thank God, because we get all these different styles of wines. If everybody made Chardonnay the exact same way, that would be boring. And so I think it's really cool that everybody has a bit of a different way that they do things and that there's not just one right or wrong way. So, go out there and experience all the different ways that people are doing things and then figure out what you like the best as well,
Yeah.
what your kind of groove is and what means the most to you when you're creating something. And I think just stay focused and, be willing to get dirty and put your head down and do the hard work because it's a long journey to get there. There's
Mm,
people who have uh, gone to school. So, you do your 3 or 4 year degree. That's great. You have a ton of theory, but so much of winemaking is practical. So but enjoy it. It's an awesome journey while you're doing it too. Don't be so keen just to get to the top of the winery and become the head winemaker, because there's so many awesome fun steps in between there, and
Mm,
enjoy all of those steps. Get your education, learn and listen, and
mm,
visit the vineyards, and you get to be outside, you get to work with
yeah,
grapes, you get to meet all these amazing people.
yeah.
Don't just have your eyes so hard on the prize to get to the top that you miss where you're at right now, because I think like there's so
Mm,
many fun levels to get there. And there's
mm,
parts of my job even right now sometimes where I'm like, oh man, I kind of miss doing those jobs over there, being responsible only for just moving tanks of wine or,
right,
cleaning the press or whatever it is.
right.
Um, so I think it's important just to do all of them and enjoy all of them. Yeah.
Sounds like that saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is the present. That's why they call it a gift. So
Yes.
I think you're like saying be in the present moment and really soak up where you are and what you're doing, because
Yeah.
honestly, the journey of learning, and I'm just like a forever learner. I just love, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just like,
That's
oh, could
great.
I take another course? Oh, could I do some more? And I'm like, okay, don't do any more courses. Like, stop that. Just like go and be and do. But, you know, um, my passion was cooking. And there's lots of ways to learn about cooking and your tools and your kitchen and how it's set up. And so I feel like the creative you is the one who gets to make beautiful bubbles of your style. And I just hope you keep getting all of these amazing awards, because your style is so precise and really like you wait until you're ready to have it in the bottle. Like I don't I was like I think it was the 2019 we just tried at Evolve last week or the week before, and I think it was either the Blanc de Noir or there was a Rosé Brut. I can't really remember
There's
now.
both of those. There's like 9 different sparkling wines at Evolve.
Wait a
There's,
minute. Wait
there's
a
so
minute.
many.
Stop the truck. Okay, so did everybody hear that? 9 styles of bubbles. So, yeah. And what does it cost? So, let's talk a little bit about Evolve. What is it? Do you have to pay to do a tasting, and do you have to book a reservation? And where do we find you?
So they're so busy right now. I would suggest booking in. And then online, there's a whole bunch of different styles of tastings you can do. So it's kind of catered towards how much time you have and how much you want to explore the wines there. So there's the first one's called like Splash and Dash. So you get to taste a certain amount of wines. It's kind of quicker, so you get a little bit of seeing the overview of Evolve, get to taste some wines, and then take off, head to your next wine tasting destination. Or if you want to get a little cozier, they have Bubbles and Bites, where it's bubbles and then it's paired with food, which is really cool. So just little bites that go along. Yeah, so there's lots of different options that you can do, and you can book all of them online. And I don't know if they've released it yet. I don't even know if I should say, but maybe by the time this is out, they're going to have a kind of like an elevated or more high end sort of tasting as well, and
Mm.
then some other plans for food pairings and things, which is exciting. So look online. There's detailed descriptions about all that. You can even do a saber, which is really cool. Yeah.
Yes. So I have a saber. I should
Oh,
have brought
cool.
it. It's sitting in a box over there. Napoleon's, kind of like
It's awesome.
fancy dancy. But I was just there, I guess I was there maybe 3 weeks ago, but I was like, I'm coming back with my saber. I think this would be fun. And I'm going to bring some people and we're going to have some
Yes.
fun, because
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
so
so
fun.
exciting. It's
It
so,
is.
yeah, bubbles. Napoleon knew something. Going into battles, sabering bottles to inspire the troops, they were
Yeah.
inspired. So if you're going on a wine tasting, go get bubbles first and be inspired. Like or if it's your birthday, be inspired. Saber a bottle, or it's an anniversary, or it's Wednesday. I don't care. Just
I was gonna
savor
say, or just any day. I think
any
that
day.
Bubbles, I feel like people now drink them a lot more often, where it used to be a celebration, and they'd always like they'd have one bottle and there'd be like 12 people and everyone would get a little bit of it and they'd all have a cheers. And now people I think are just drinking bubbles because they just like drinking bubbles. And I'm like, I love this. I've found my
I
people.
love this.
Yeah.
I think lower alcohol, effervescence is a mood enhancing, especially if you think about oysters, like whatever you're having, whatever you're doing, but like New Year's, Christmas, birthday, anniversary, friends getting together. It's like there's so many reasons
Yes.
to have this effervescence that just kind of takes your whole afternoon, evening, whatever it is, to the next level.
Good.
I
So
could
good.
live
Yes.
there. I could live there happily ever after, just in the bubble house. I was like, the last time I was there, I did a video. It's like, I could live here. Is there a room upstairs? Like, can you get that organized for me? I would love that. I would love that
That's,
so much.
that's so fun.
Anyway. You have been just the most lovely guest. I'm just always delighted to talk with you. I mean, you still look 18, so I'm a bit jealous. And I have to say, for someone who's got 2 decades of experience in wine, you have more than me. So, but I did do other things. But anyway, the point is, Lynzee, it's just always lovely to see you. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for your time. I did
Yes.
polish that off, although I still have this left.
Yeah, work
So
to do.
I'm going to invite some people over. We're going to have some
Awesome.
7% light sparkles
Love it.
evolve. Yeah, I love it too. And
Yeah, that was so nice.
I love that it's this beautiful color of pink too. Oh, so
Yeah.
good. Anyway,
Yes.
thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you.
much.
Thank you so much for
Lovely to
chatting.
see you.
Yes,
Yeah,
good to
you
see you.
best of luck at harvest.
Thank
And I
you.
hope that all goes like super well. And I know I will see you again
Yes.
soon. Okay,
Yes. Okay,
take
take
care.
care. Bye.
Bye.